Hi there, today we're doing a slightly different episode, but one I think you'll find killer. Now we've decided to repost our most valuable training of 2025 so you can start 2026 ahead of the rest. I hope you enjoy.
AI and other apps like ChatGPT are literally changing the world as we speak.
Chat, I want you to act as a professional estimator for a commercial plumbing business who prices jobs for large building and general contractors. All you need to do is just put in what you want, which is crazy.
We tell it who we want it to be, and it'll act that way. You know, if you tell it act like a 4-year-old, well then you're probably not going to get what you want.
Be very clear on what action you want Chat to take. So it's just telling it exactly what you want it to create. ChatGPT are effectively a team member who work 24/7. They don't need feeding, they don't need a performance review, beers and barbecues and all that sort of stuff.
They don't go to the bathroom for 20 minutes a day either.
You know, they're just there and they're ready 24/7. It just raises the level of everyone's standard of communication. It's like an artificial intelligence is what it is, and it's built to understand human language and have real conversation. This is a tsunami of change that's actually happening right now. It's kind of like the Industrial Revolution, you know, when we went from working in the fields to working in factories and mass producing things. Like, the world is changing very quickly right now, and we do need to get on board with this.
If we don't use ChatGPT or we don't know how to use it properly, we can run into some problems with it, right?
Yeah, well, the first thing is, what if you could hire an employee who never took a day off, never argued, and did what you asked without question the first time you asked? Now, it turns out that ChatGPT is this very employee, if you know how to train it and use it properly. Now, tune into this episode where we break down 4 simple steps to get the most out of using ChatGPT. Welcome to the Profitable Tradie podcast. Tony Fraser-Jones here, your host, with Phil Smith, my mate, co-host. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, always good, mate. Always good.
All right, let's get into
great.
We're talking about the ideal employee today.
Yeah, the ideal employee, and I'm sure you've heard all the buzz about ChatGPT and AI, and you've wondered what it's all about, and maybe you're struggling to see how ChatGPT or other AI apps can actually help you in your business. Maybe you've tried using ChatGPT, but you found it kind of disappointing, can't see what all the fuss is about, or maybe you've spoken with friends or other business owners or even your kids who are super excited about the possibilities of using ChatGPT, and they just want to get on board but not sure how, or you want to get on board and you're not sure how. AI and other apps like ChatGPT are literally changing the world as we speak. You know, like it or not, I feel like we've all got to get on board here, otherwise we're going to get left behind. But it's a pretty incredible tool.
It is. It's an incredible tool when it's used well. And today we really want to help everyone listening to use ChatGPT better, to help them get better results in their business and to save time. Like, it's an unbelievable productivity tool. It's literally changed how we do business at Profitable Tradie. It's changing that for a number of our members as well. And the cool thing about it is, although it's a technology, is you don't actually have to be, crash hot at using technology. It is so user-friendly. It's designed for just ordinary people to use, and it'll actually give you, it'll tell you how to use it if you know how to ask it. It's kind of a weird thing.
Oh, that's always good.
It doesn't need an instruction manual. You just need to know how to use it and ask the right questions, which is what today's pod is really all about.
Yeah, well, it's cool. It kind of is its own instruction manual in a way, which is pretty great. So
it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and I'm sure you got a story to kick us off.
I have a story. I might have shared this before. I can't remember, but it's... I
bet it's about an air crash.
It is about an air crash.
Hey, here we go.
And a very famous and very sad air crash. It's the Erebus disaster in 1979. I think it was 28th of November 1979. And there was a sightseeing flight. Actually flew from New Zealand, an old DC-10, and they flew from New Zealand down to the Antarctic. They'd fly around and fly back, and they'd done a few of these flights. And on this particular day, things went really wrong. The aircraft actually flew into the side of Mount Erebus, and obviously it was destroyed. 257 people died. Terrible tragedy. And in the end, they figured out what went wrong was that the flight computer actually had the wrong information programmed into it before the aircraft even left the airport, and so the pilots just had the wrong information. The computer was given the wrong data, and so they weren't flying where they thought they were. They thought they were flying somewhere, but they were actually flying somewhere else, which put them in the path of this mountain. And unfortunately, as often with accidents like this, it's a bit of a Swiss cheese. A whole bunch of problems line up, and there was conditions in the Antarctic which created visual illusion, so it was very hard to see the horizon. The snow and the sky sort of blended into each other, so you couldn't actually see the mountains. So the pilots were flying by instruments, thought it was all good. Obviously, it wasn't. At the last minute, they realised they're in the wrong place. They tried to get out of there, but they had no chance. That they couldn't. Very, very sad. But I guess the moral here is, the information you put into something is really important, and it's the same with ChatGPT. It's like the the data you put in, the questions you ask, the way you use it is what really counts here. And that's what makes it so powerful. If you don't really know how to do that, you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so today we're going to talk about how to use it, and we're going to go through a 4-step sort of framework that will help you get great results from ChatGPT. Otherwise, you probably just get some stuff that's not particularly helpful. It might be really general and not that useful for you.
Yeah, basically we get quality in, quality out instead, which should be pretty great.
Pretty much universal principle, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And so, basically if we don't use ChatGPT or we don't know how to use it properly, we can run into some problems with it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to waste hours probably using vague questions, getting vague answers back, which is not particularly helpful. You'll think that ChatGPT and maybe other AIs don't really work, but really you weren't using them in a way to succeed. You'll get stuck doing admin work, quoting work, emails, marketing, etc. that you could be getting a lot of help with. You'll still be doing it the old way. You'll burn up a lot of time spending your energy on that, or maybe hiring people to do stuff that you don't necessarily need them to do because ChatGPT could help you with it. And so there's a big miss, in terms of efficiency. Your competitors are going to get a jump on you because they might know how to use it. They're just going to crack on and you're going to be left behind. And there's really just a massive opportunity you're going to miss out on. This is the way the world's moving. Like, this is a tsunami of change that's actually happening right now. It's kind of like the Industrial Revolution, when we went from working in the fields to working in factories and mass producing things. Like, the world is changing very quickly right now, and we do need to get on board with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we can get on board and actually use this tool really well, we've got great upsides, right?
Yeah, well, the first thing is, things like ChatGPT are effectively a team member who'll work 24/7 to help you with stuff. They don't need feeding. You don't need to employ them. You just sign up to them. They don't need a performance review. They don't need beers and barbecues and all that sort of stuff. So, they're just there and they're ready 24/7.
They don't go to the bathroom for 20 minutes a day either, which is always good.
That's right,
yeah.
With their coffee and their phone. Anyway, moving on. You get clearer, sharper communications with your clients. You can get actually better quality information out to help you with your business. And here's something that people don't probably realize with ChatGPT is it can make people who are not very good at writing, not very good at communications, can make them pretty darn good. It just raises the level of everyone's standard of communication. And so for a lot of people listening, maybe you didn't like school that much, or writing wasn't a big thing for you. Well, you can use ChatGPT to become a gun writer. Like, it's crazy good. It'll free up a lot of time. It'll help you get an advantage in the marketplace if you really get into it quickly. And big advantage now. Maybe in a couple of years' time, it'll be like the price of entry. So you'll have to be there.
Yeah, better start now and get used to it before you get left behind.
100%. And it's kind of fun too. Like, when you get in there and use this and you master it and you see the results it can help you, you actually feel pretty good about things. You're like, oh, this is fun. I'm learning something. You feel confident, a bit more stressed, a bit more in control of what you're doing, which is pretty cool. I think that's worthwhile as well. And ultimately, it's going to help you make more money, improve your business, take cost and complexity out of your business, which is great for margins and lifestyle and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so it sounds like a bit of a no-brainer. I reckon where we should start is what is ChatGPT? Because there will be some people listening that maybe it's newer to them or they've heard about it, but they're just not really sure what it is. So should we start there?
Yeah, well, right from the kickoff, like, I'm not an expert in ChatGPT, and so I'm talking from the position of like I don't know, not even a super user, but someone who uses it a lot. But it's like an artificial intelligence is what it is, and it's built to understand human language and have real conversations. So it's like a language model, and basically anything that can be turned into text, GPT will use, and it operates on text. So if you're having a conversation with someone, that can be transcribed, put into ChatGPT, for example. And what it's done, it's just been trained by reading billions and billions of pieces of information from online, obviously, or input it into it, but books, websites, articles, and so it can answer questions, basically. Like, it can write emails for you, it can create marketing content, you can brainstorm ideas. It just collates all that information that's out there, and it's got obviously massive processing power in the background, which will just synthesize all this information that we as humans could never read in a 1,000 years. It just accesses all of that and gives us answers to our questions.
Yeah, well, there's a saying I heard once. Tony Robbins said it, and he said, if you read somebody's book, it's like you consumed 10 years of their knowledge and you added 10 years to your life and experience. Basically, this has read billions of books, so it's that wise. Not to mention all the articles, website, copy, everything that it could possibly get its hands on. So, just the depth of knowledge and understanding is just unfathomable. It's
it is unfathomable.
People would never be able to catch up on it. So, being able to draw on that's pretty impressive.
It is, and it doesn't think like a human. It looks for patterns in the information that it's learned, and then just gives the best response it can based on what you ask. So that's important. The thing is that it can't read your mind. So, you can't just think something and it's going to give you an answer, or you've actually got to give it really clear instructions. You need to tell it what you want. You need to tell it about the context to get the best information. Otherwise, it's going to look really widely and just bring back a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, just general stuff as well, which is kind of what we're getting at, right? Like garbage in, garbage out. If you ask it a very general question with no context, no background, no examples, that kind of thing, then you're going to get a very general answer back, and it won't be as useful. But the more quality you can put in, which is what we were getting at earlier, right? Then the better the answer you get out.
So for example, if you own a plumbing business and you just ask, how do I find good employees? Well, that's very broad, and it's like, well, it's going to be very broad. But if you are able to ask it something like, hey, I own a plumbing business, I'm looking for a highly qualified tradesperson. How can I find what do you suggest my strategy is for finding high quality tradespeople? That's way more nuanced. And then you could add where you are, and it'll give you a much better answer. And it knows, it'll figure out the answer based on plumbing businesses. It'll give you all that context, which is kind of incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And I think done right, ChatGPT is basically just going to become a 24/7 admin assistant, marketer, copywriter, brainstorming buddy, basically everything you could ever want. Working 24/7 without pay, no breaks, no holidays, and just crushing it day in, day out. It's super consistent. It doesn't forget things. That's another thing. Yeah. If you think about a person, there's a lot of information that you could learn and a lot of experience you can gain, but if I asked you about something you learned 10 years ago, the chance of recalling that very well is low, whereas ChatGPT is perfect as well. So it's not going to forget stuff or miss information that it's learned in the past, which is great. It makes it very consistent.
I think that the cool thing is that there's so many uses of this that you don't even think about as a business owner or owning a tradie or a contracting business, and it can help you with so many different things, brainstorming.
Well, pretty much anything you can think of. I mean, brainstorming, if you're stuck for ideas on something, you can get ideas from ChatGPT. Making and creating, systems and checklists. So, I mean, I've seen this in action. It's pretty incredible where people have said, hey, can you create me a quality assurance checklist for, installing a toilet or something? And it'll give you step by step exactly what to do. So if you're looking at creating checklists and systems in your business, I mean, a lot of the time ChatGPT can actually just create that for you. And even if you use it as a start point, add one or two things, take one or two things out, change a couple of things if you want them done differently, that's fine. But you'll have 90% of it done immediately, and then you can just tweak. Whereas writing systems from scratch can be very time consuming. So that's huge. Handling customer service issues. Again, you get a difficult email from a client, somebody who's unhappy or something. You're unsure how to respond very well. Well, ChatGPT will make a great response immediately. Or
just paste the email in there and ask it to respond.
Yeah. Or otherwise, again, even if you just want to, do on the other side of the customer service coin, you want to send a really well-worded, nice email thanking someone for their business. Again, if you're not really a wordsmith, that's fine. ChatGPT can create a really great email for you. And so, again, any kind of customer service, good or bad, it can help you with that. Help with staff training. So again, if you're looking to train your staff better, it can create training, schedules for you. It can create, again, those checklists. If you want to take someone through a process, it can create that for you. If you wanted to performance manage someone and you're unsure how to go about that, it'll be able to guide you through the process, tell you what to do, how to do it, step out everything that you need to do in order, timeframes, everything. It's going to give you everything you need. Doing basic business maths. Look, if you're not a maths whiz and you find it quite hard to get across all this stuff, you can put all the information that you want into ChatGPT, and it'll crunch numbers, show you trends, everything. It can create spreadsheets for you, everything that you want to do there. Translating or simplifying language. So again, I don't know about you, but whenever we get legal documents or big long contracts, again, I'm reading it, and sometimes there's bits where I'm a bit lost. A lot of jargon and things that may not be easily understood without having to read it 5 times. And usually, in the past, I would get Joe, which is, one of our staff to come and summarize it for me. She's really good at this kind of thing. Nowadays, you can just chuck it into ChatGPT. It'll summarize the whole thing for you, simplify all the language, make sure that you can completely understand what's being said. And instead of reading a 40-page jargon-filled document, it'll give you a 1-page breakdown of exactly what was said. Summarizing long and confusing info is kind of the same thing there. If you got long, confusing stuff, it's all there. Marketing content and ideas. So again, if you're struggling for what to do in your marketing, you give it lots of context, what type of work you're after, what type of work you do, where you are, all of the information it needs. It can create a marketing plan for you. It can write all of the copy and all of the ads that you want to post. It can write the emails that you want to send. It can basically just make all of that really easy. It can help you build quotes. It can help you with follow-ups and language that you want to, use in your emails and phone scripts, plus just a bunch of other things it can do. And, it can do things like graphic design. It can help you with like video structure. It can help you put together basically anything you want to do.
It ties in with a lot of other apps that can do a bunch of that stuff.
So it'll be able to, use those apps for you and basically, create stuff. Not to mention pretty much anything it creates, it can then spit it out in a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet or anything that you need, which actually makes it even easier.
You've had a lot of fun with Word documents in ChatGPT.
I have. I did have a bit of difficulty with that at the start, but I've fixed it and made it right. So
there you go.
In the end, I asked ChatGPT, why is this not working? And then it told me, and I was like, okay, thank you.
Well, and this is the thing with ChatGPT. It's like you don't have to be a technical wizard. So if you want to know whether it can help you with something, just ask it. You say, hey, can you help me with this? Can you do this? And it'll tell you if it can or can't. So many uses. But the key to success, what we really want to drill into today, is the fact that the questions you ask and the prompts you give ChatGPT are actually the key to your success. And so what we mean by prompting is basically the commands or the questions that you ask it. And the way you do that is absolutely critical. So, I mean, if you think about it in these terms, you think about an apprentice who's starting out on day one. If you say to them, go and do some stuff, and we'll see you at the end of the day, they'll just muck around and they'll not be particularly useful because it's kind of very general.
Too vague.
But if you tell them specifically what you want done, how you want it done, when you want it done by, then you've got a much better chance of success. And ChatGPT is pretty much the same thing. You think of it as an employee. So prompting is actually the new skill. The skill is learning how to use it, how to give it suggestions, commands, and instructions, and tell ChatGPT what you want to give you the best response. That's the real skill that we need to learn. So prompting is really simply the way you talk to ChatGPT to tell it to do what you want. And prompts technically are questions. They could be commands. It's just how we talk to ChatGPT. So really, that's what we want to dig into today. And there's a structure to do that we've found works really well to give you the great results.
Yeah, we had a 4-step formula that was mentioned earlier. So
should
we jump into that and start with number one?
Yeah, 4-step formula. So the 4 steps are role. Tell it the role that you want it to perform. The next is what's the context. The next is what is the command you're giving it. And the last step is what's the format you want the result in. And so if we talk about the role, you actually tell ChatGPT who you want it to pretend to be. So you're actually hiring it for a specific job. You want it to know what hat that it's wearing. So you just pick the role you want it to do. So for example, you might say, hey, Chat, I want you to act as a professional estimator for a commercial plumbing business who prices jobs for large building and general contractors. So it knows how it's operating.
Yeah.
And so its answers are going to be, in that role. It might be, hey, I want you to act as a customer service manager for a busy HVAC service company dealing with homeowners.
Yeah, maybe act as a marketing copywriter who specializes in promoting trades and contracting businesses on social media. So that way it's going to actually think like a marketer and act like a marketer and produce the content that you want.
That's right.
In a marketer's view.
And when it goes to find information, it'll use that to find information. It'll look in that area of its database, if you like, to find that sort of stuff. It might be, I want you to act as a recruitment officer writing a job ad for a senior electrician in a growing trades business.
Yeah, so basically we tell it who we want it to be, and it'll act that way. If you tell it act like a 4-year-old, well, then you're probably not going to get what you want. So tell it exactly who you want it to be, and it will actually put that hat on and take on that persona, and the results will be reflected in that. So what's step number 2? We had context. You want to explain that one?
Yeah, so step number 2 is context. So that's basically telling ChatGPT about your business and the situation. So who you are, who you serve, and what's happening. So basically, you're getting ChatGPT to step into your world so that it can write from your perspective and give you answers from your perspective. And so, the broad context is context. You can even say to ChatGPT, please interview me so you understand the context of our business. and it will go through and ask you a few questions, and then it'll give you an answer, and you can use that every time you use it to say, hey, here's the context.
Yeah.
So it's crazy good, right? But just as a simple example, you might say, hey, I own a family-owned plumbing business that specializes in emergency repairs for residential homes in San Antonio, Texas. Okay, so it knows the context. Or maybe I operate an electrical company that works primarily with property management strata companies maintaining large apartment complexes.
Yeah, maybe I own a landscaping and outdoor living business that builds decks, patios, and gardens for upscale homeowners looking for high-end results to impress their neighbours. Again, gives context.
Yeah, exactly. Or our painting company focused on repainting older heritage homes for owners who care about quality and they want the job done once and they want it done right. So it's got some context. Now, you could put more context there, but that gives you an example. So it's like, what role am I performing? Now I understand what this business is about.
I'm performing that job and I'm doing it in this context. And so the third thing it needs is the command.
Yes, you got to be very clear on what action you want chat to take. So it's just telling it exactly what you want it to create. It's kind of like just a job description for your employees, really. And so examples might be, hey, I want you to write a polite and professional follow-up email asking a client if they're ready to book their kitchen renovation. It might be, I want you to create a 5-point checklist for customers preparing their home for a roofing inspection.
Yeah, maybe draft a compelling job ad that would attract qualified HVAC technicians looking for a supportive, family-friendly work environment.
Exactly. Or maybe, I don't know, sort of marketing one might be brainstorm 10 taglines for a plumbing business that promises on-time services or they won't pay or they don't pay. So you tell it exactly what you want. I want you to write a job description for a 4-person of a commercial plumbing business.
Yeah, so now it knows what job it's doing, who it's supposed to be, it knows what context it's working in, so who it's working for and where, and it knows what you want it to do. So then the fourth thing it needs is the format.
Yeah, so basically that's how you want the output displayed, and the more specific, the better. And you're thinking about what's going to be most useful for you to copy, to paste, to take and edit or change. Because sometimes you will need to change stuff. It's often not perfect, and you might need to tweak stuff, but it might be write it as a short, casual email, maximum 100 words that sounds like a friendly small business owner, not a corporation. It might be create a series of 3 Facebook posts, each under 60 words with an upbeat tone with a call to action.
Yeah, it could be provide the answer as a numbered list, 1 to 5 with bullet points for easy reading, keeping sentences short and punchy.
Yeah, it might be draft in a professional tone suitable for quoting on an official tender submission. Yeah, it's formal and precise, no jokes and slang.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT when we're doing the pod as well, and I'll say, tell it, hey, I want 4 points on this topic of at least no more than 75 words with a detailed explanation of each point, and it just will give you that. If you just let it give what it thinks, it may mean not what you want.
Yeah, and I think you can also go back and forth with it a lot, and I'm sure we'll dig into this more.
Yeah, that's massive.
But I think if it doesn't give you the perfect thing the first time, you can just say, hey, that wasn't quite right. Could you change this or that? For example, I use this all the time when we're creating webinar content and stuff that we're going to speak from stage at our live events. And one of the biggest things I use it for is actually for stories and things. So I've got a lot of stories that are in my head. But actually, often, I'll ask it to create a story, and I give it who it is and the context and everything, the command. Create a story that's going to make this point, and it gives me a story. And actually, the most common thing that happens is it gives me the story. I'm like, great story, and that reminds me of something that actually happened in my own life, and I end up telling the story that's in my head, not that one. But it gives me a really, really good sort of jogging of my memory, because otherwise I'm sitting there and I'm trying to think of stuff and you got this whole lifetime of stories in your head, but actually accessing those memories is not always that easy. So, but sometimes what will happen is the story comes out and I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's not quite right. Like, it makes the point, but it's not really what I'm looking for in terms of the tone of the story or the sort of examples it's using. And so then I just prompt it again. I say, hey, that's cool, but could you make it a sports metaphor? Or, hey, that's cool, but could you make it a real business case or something like that? And then what it will do is it will just instantly rewrite the story and give you what you want. And sometimes, that will jog more ideas, and then you can go back and forward with it, almost like you're discussing it with an employee and brainstorming an idea, because that's really what you're doing. And you end up with a much better, final result. So you don't have to take the first thing it does. It can adapt, and it will, and it actually gets better and better the more you go back and forward with it.
This is a really important part of prompting, and a lot of the skill in prompting is the fact that you can keep going till you get what you want. So you can ask it multiple questions, refine, improve. And I'm thinking of like quality assurance checklists. So you might ask it to create quality assurance checklist for for plumbing out a new build, and you go through it and you're like, that's pretty good. But I know that a lot of the problems we have are the guys just don't check stuff off at the end. They don't go and flush all the toilets. They don't check the hot water's actually hot, all that sort of stuff. And so you might say to chat, great, this is awesome. But our biggest problem at the moment is we get lots of callbacks because the guys haven't checked all the fixtures and fittings and that the systems are all working properly. They just do them and don't check. Please update the checklist to reflect that. And it'll go and add in a bunch of tests at the end.
Not only that, but you could go then and say, hey, look, one thing I've learned is that actually when you're doing home service work, service work for homeowners, one of the most important things is actually the customer service aspect. And you could say, hey, could you add in points to this checklist to ensure that my team will, perform good customer service? So, for example, where will they be, communicating with the customer? What are they going to say? Add this into the checklist, and it will add those in. And then now your checklist is not just how to do the job, but how to check the job and how to provide amazing customer service throughout the job. And now you've got a really, really comprehensive checklist that's actually going to, do the full job the right way the first time. And so you've got a really great product, but you may have had to go back and forth a couple of times. If there's things that are missing, don't just add them in yourself. Tell ChatGPT, hey, could you add this, or could you get this aspect? And that way it'll actually, think of stuff you didn't think of as well. And together you create the best possible product. So it's pretty good.
It is. It's a real kind of back and forth process, and that's part of it. So if it doesn't give you the answer you want initially, don't stress out. It's probably because you haven't asked it the right questions yet, or you need to go deeper. And you don't have to even sometimes give it the suggestions. You just say, hey, I think it's missing this. What else would you add to fix this problem? It'll come up with some suggestions, like you said. And you'll be like, oh, that's a good suggestion, and it'll tick off other things in your head as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like I think the key thing here is it's a tool. It's an aid, and if you learn to use those 4 steps, you'll have the best possible opportunity to get a good response. But you still need to work with it. You still need to use your brain because it's your business. You'll know some stuff that maybe that this is missed as well.
Well, should we talk about custom GPTs?
Oh,
I think
this is
where it gets real juicy.
Yeah, so here's the thing. That 4-step process, very helpful. Use that when you're using it every time, but you don't actually have to go through that 4-step process every time, because you can actually create what are called custom GPTs, which are special versions of GPTs, ones you set up for yourself that can design and act exactly how you want them to, and you can actually make those custom GPTs already have those 4 questions answered. So all you need to do is just put in what you want, which is crazy. So like a example might be you create a chat GPT. You might call it the social media machine. Or you could call it anything. It was just kind of a catchy name. And that GPT is the one that you've told it its role. It's helping you create social media posts. You've talked about the context about your business. You've told it the format you want, and you've commanded it to do stuff. And it'll you can just say, I need 3 more posts this week for my social media on these topics, and it'll spit them out. And
it retains the information you've
That's
already
right.
given it, so you can just pick up where you left off
Yeah.
every time, and it actually gets better and better and better at
'Cause it
performing
learns.
that task because it's learning about you. So when you're going back and forward with it as well, and you're giving it clarification or extra prompts, it'll retain that too, and it'll use that information as it continues to provide for you.
And here's where it gets really juicy. You might have done some research, and you've seen, if you're a plumbing company or maybe an electrical company, whatever you are, you've seen other businesses in your area or overseas or in different states who are really super successful with this stuff. And you can tell your custom GP or even chat GPT, hey, I really want you to model the posts of this company. Use that as examples, and it will draw on that and refine yours to reflect some of the characteristics of those companies. It's absolutely crazy. It's bonkers.
You can upload examples into it as well.
Yep.
So let's say you want it to create a job description, or you could upload a couple of job descriptions, that you've used in the past in your business, and it will design the new ones you want to have made around those, so that they spit out in the same format, and that they follow the same structure and they have all the same information, and basically just update whatever it is for the new role. And so it can build on your previous stuff, which is also pretty cool. And you can give it those examples so it can model. And again, like you said, if you've found someone else you want to model yourself after because they're doing great stuff, well, you can upload their stuff, and ChatGPT now has it right there on hand to model that too. So it's pretty cool. It gives you a big head start, so you don't have to do all of the setup every time, right?
It's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
You might set up a custom GP like a system builder, so it knows what format you want the system in, what style or the context, and you just say, hey, I want you to create a system for job handover now, or whatever it is, and it'll print it out. The cool thing about all of this is, like I said, you don't need to be a technical wizard. If you're in doubt about how to use it, you just ask ChatGPT; it'll give you the answer. And no lies here. I didn't know how to build custom GPs, had no idea. And I said to ChatGPT, I need to build a custom GP for writing job ads, which is something we do for our members. Fantastic job ads. They work really well. And I had built that GPT in 20 minutes from not knowing how to do it at all, because ChatGPT told me how to do it. And now our members can write job ads really quickly using using our custom GPT with all of our information, and spit out fantastic job ads. And I did that in 20 minutes and just asking it how to do it. So if you're stuck on how to do something with ChatGPT, then just ask it how to do it. It'll tell you. Yeah. It's mad.
Yeah, it will teach you how to use it, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. So incredibly powerful. But the key is the prompts. Learning how to ask questions. Give it a good role. Give it a context. Give it a command and a format, and you'll be smashing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So upsides are pretty massive. I think we've probably sold that idea, and hey, guys, go and get after it. So let's end this plane.
Yeah, so ChatGPT is literally changing the way we do business, and other AIs as well. The key here with Chat is to use that 4-step process of understanding the role, be clear on the role you want it to perform, what the context is, give it a command and the format you want the information displayed, and you'll find ChatGPT just becomes a massively valued member of your team. Never sleeps, doesn't need feeding, absolutely reliable.
Absolutely.
It is. Thanks heaps for listening. We'll catch you all again next time.
See you later.
Congratulations on being part of a select group of savvy business owners who are taking their businesses to the next level. And to help you on your journey, don't forget to check out our show notes for a copy of our free book, The Profitable Tradie, and other valuable resources. Thanks for being a part of this special group, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Profitable Tradie podcast.